Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching The Inside Scoop. I am your host, Steve Scanlon. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Bubba. Welcome, Bubba.
Doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. And sitting next to Bubba is Joey. And once again, I forgot to introduce the doll that's sitting on the desk, and that's Emma Lily. And I figure I'll announce her, not talk to her. People think I'm weird talking to a doll, but I guess some people do.
To its camera.
Okay, well, before we kick things off like we usually do with the death list, I got some bad news to announce. I am sad because I was thinking while Joey does his Joey report, Kibben report, I was going to have set up on the desk here a few plates of food, and I figured I could eat and drink and listen to these two guys for a few minutes. But in the studio, we are not allowed to eat or drink on the stage. So therefore, I am sad that I cannot eat right now.
That's sad.
Well, anyways, now back to the show. Joey has a list of deaths. And we'll kick things off like we usually do with a sad note on the deaths. So if you don't mind.
If you notice the show I did, we start off with the good note. We did birthdays first. But,
oh, yeah? Okay.
But it's okay. You run the show.
Yeah, I'm already sad. I can't eat and listen at the same time.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's amazing. I could do multitask. Eat and listen. I guess it'll be better than eating and talking.
It's going to be getting worse in 2 weeks.
No comment.
Okay, we'll start off with rapper Coolio.
Yeah, I was sad to hear he passed away. I used to love his song Gangsta Paradise back in the 1990s.
I think he died a day or two.
Fantastic Voyage.
He did? He died about a day or two after we did the last show.
Oh,
Been thinking all of it.
As a matter of fact, he also had...
It's actually the entrance song of the Hoods, is Gangsta's Paradise. They still use it as their entrance.
He also had a cameo in one of the Batman movies.
Yes, he did.
George Clooney's Batman and Robin.
Gangsta's Paradise, there was a parody from Weird Al Yankovic called Amish Paradise. And I guess Coolio got upset with him because he didn't necessarily give him permission to do a parody of that song, but they ended up making up years later, and they became friends. But even Amish Paradise, I used to like watching that video as well, even though it was a parody.
There's a wrestler that's new in the area, in the independent circuit. He uses Amish Paradise because he has an Amish type character. He uses it as his entrance music. So, a little interesting to know, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Next is wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Inoki.
I would like to comment real quick.
Go ahead.
I haven't seen any of his matches, but I know of him even going back to the early, well, should I say the late 1980s when I started watching wrestling regularly back in 1988. That was a name that was mentioned quite often in NWA. And even over the years, there was a name mentioned time to time. And I believe some of their top wrestlers of the 90s and 80s wrestled him.
Antonio Inoki actually started in the 70s. I did a little bit of a history. I do a little bit of a history on different wrestlers. Not only was he a wrestler, he was like the man who sat in this seat right here, Mike Baker. He was a trainer over in Japan. He was a politician. He was a promoter. He had I was mentioning to our director earlier, he had a famous skit years ago when Gorilla Monsoon was with Muhammad Ali. And after Gorilla gave Muhammad an airplane spin, he challenged Gorilla Monsoon to a match. I've seen a lot of matches by Antonio Inoki. I consider Antonio Inoki probably the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time.
Wow.
That's my opinion of it, and the legendary Antonio Inoki. There's been a lot of great Japanese wrestlers over the years. We could mention people all day long, Mr. Fuji, Professor Toru Tanaka, the great wrestlers, but I think Antonio Inoki might be right up there in the upper echelon, Ric Flairish type category for Antonio Inoki. So the world lost a wrestling icon as far as I'm concerned.
Antonio was tall too, right?
Big man. He was like 6'2 and a half, 6'3". Yeah. Big hands. Very friendly man out of the ring. Very friendly man. The wrestling world lost a great wrestler.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Joey can answer this. Wasn't he a WWE Hall of Famer?
Yes,
he still is.
Mentioned that.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Is a WWE
yes, he is.
Hall of Famer.
I believe he went in, I'm not sure if it was 95 or 96. Did he go in the same year as Bobby Heenan? He might have went in 94.
No, Bobby Heenan went in 2004.
I've seen that.
So he wasn't in that one?
It was before that, and it's long before that. Because I've seen most of the Hall of Fames. I like to watch them on internet. So. We have several people to mention here, so we had a tough week for deaths.
NXT star Sarah Lee.
I've seen a couple videos on YouTube of her competing on Tough Enough, and she was, I believe, the last season of Tough Enough, she was one of the winners.
Second to last season. They really didn't show the 2017 one too much. They more featured the 2016, as we discussed before our taping tonight. I mean, another girl, 30 years old, way too young to be
She
dying.
passed from a car accident?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken?
Yes,
okay.
that's all I read.
Yeah, she left behind a husband and 3 kids.
Sad.
It is.
Actress, comedian Judy Tenuta.
Ooh, the love goddess herself. A lot of the 80s roasts years ago you'd see on TV. Judy Tenuta she was also a very, very good friend of Roseanne Barr's. Very good friend of Roseanne Barr's. But I remember Judy Tenuta, I'm a little older than both of you, obviously. But I remember seeing her in roasts years ago, all the time, coming out with her accordion and roasting people. She was funny. She had her own style and her own way. And the love goddess, Judy Tenuta.
Country music legend Loretta Lynn.
I would like to speak about Loretta Lynn too. I'm sorry to go on to this, but she was her and Patsy Cline, you might agree with this, and Joe and Steve, she was like the foundation, like the rock for the country western scene for women. I mean, Loretta Lynn broke the barriers. I mean, she fought and got women country western singers on the map, and basically, I mean, she started working out years and years ago for very little money. She fought and complained that we should be getting more money, and we used to get paid, a little bit more because the men are getting paid so much more than them. And as I mentioned to, again, our director earlier today, before I came in here, I think it was 9 years ago, I saw Taylor Swift won Entertainer of the Year, and it was given to her by Loretta Lynn. And Taylor Swift came up right and said to Loretta Lynn, I don't belong on the same stage as you. And Loretta Lynn went over to her and said, you're very sweet to say that. She says, you're like an icon. You're like, just what I said. You're the rock. You're the reason why I'm even allowed to get this award. And you know how good Taylor Swift is. For her to say that, I gained a lot of respect for Taylor Swift because she was an icon. Granted, she was 93 years old, but she was an icon in country western music. I mean, wow. I was shocked when I read that too online. I think Joey has a couple more too.
I got one more. She was a stage, movie, and TV, what was they called, TV legend, Angela Lansbury.
Yes. From that popular show, Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
Yes. As I mentioned too, they used to have the ride at the Universal Studios. They don't have it there anymore. Where you can go on and they'd film a Murder, She Wrote scene. I was picked as an honorary cast member once in that show, but as I mentioned, I mean, the highest murder rate in the country was in Cabot Cove, Maine, because it was a murder every week. I didn't want to move there at all. I never wanted to go there. I'm surprised the Undertaker didn't open a shop there. Or the Intimidator didn't open a shop there, too. Both of them should have opened a shop there. They both could have made some good money. A great actress too. I mean, her voiceovers on.
Yeah, she's also singing. She's singing too.
Yes.
I seen her involved with a couple of Disney movies that she did. She was the voice of Mrs. Potts in the animated Beauty and the Beast, and she also did this movie Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Now,
I first saw her.
Talking about deaths, I want to go to a place I went to this past weekend, Sunday, matter of fact. I went to Emerald Square Mall, and I could not believe how many empty stores there were at that mall. And I think it'll be a matter of time there'll be death to that mall.
Well, if it's death to the mall I worked at, which was Hanover Mall, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. One of the local supermarket chains, Big, took over the whole area that was once Hanover Mall, and they built a new store there. It's actually, you think one we have in South Attleboro is Big, and in Rainham, if you people don't know what I'm talking about, they're not sponsors of our show, so I'm not going to mention them. But they have a huge store over there now where the Hanover Mall used to be. I think malls are a dying breed because of Amazon and because of, I mean, different retailers having online. Online marketing has become the thing. You know? I mean, it is what it is there. I hate to mention, but.
All right, well, any birthday lists?
I got a couple of them here.
Okay, cool.
The late Bruno Sammartino, which is October 6th, which is...
Yeah, it was the last taping.
And this guy here who had the worst birthday this year, The Miz.
Hey, you don't think Dexter is behind the curtain, do you?
I hope he is. I want to meet him.
I'm kind of nervous. We won't mention his name.
You just did.
Dexter Loomis and Baltimore. How you say I like that?
Oh boy.
I'll say both.
I hope he's not under the desk. Okay, good. He's not under there. Okay. I'm nervous.
You're not nervous. You're hungry.
Okay, you're right. I am hungry.
Well, Joe.
The only thing I hear about, besides we got Steve's sister-in-law just had a birthday last week.
Yep.
And I've got two family birthdays that happened last week too.
I have one that happened. I have one coming up. It's very important to me. I'll mention it after. But we have one more person I just mentioned earlier. Yesterday was Dusty Rhodes, the legendary Dusty Rhodes, if he was still with us.
American Dream.
Yes, we had a birthday. Again, I say this every show. Go on WrestlingForum.com. My good friend Vic Salagosta put a nice picture up of Dusty. And he mentions a lot of the wrestlers' birthdays. I don't take the listing down because we be mentioning births and deaths after, where I've already talked after the show about births and deaths, but we've lost a lot of great people.
Yeah, we did.
One name I want to mention, I'm going to mention it outright. I've told you folks my real name. If you see the intro to the show on your mobile, you'll see my real name. If my dad was alive on the 15th, this Saturday, he would have been 100 years old.
Wow.
And I really miss my dad. So, up in heaven, God bless you, Dad. If you're watching over me, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Without Dad, I wouldn't be here. Think about this, people. Without my dad, I would not be talking to you right now. And I miss my dad, so I think we all do. We all miss our fathers here. I know Joey just lost his father fairly recently.
Well, not recently, but he passed 36 years ago.
And you never mentioned your dad.
My dad passed away recently. I forget how many, 2013, I believe.
Yeah, my dad died in 2008. Me holding his hand. So.
Speaking of my dad, his birthday's the same day as Bruno's. He would have been 78 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so my dad would have been 100 years old when he was 84.
And the day after my dad's is my niece. My niece's 25th, turned 25.
Well, I'm kind of estranged from my brother Paul, but he had a birthday this past week with my nephew Michael, one of my two nephews. It's also his anniversary, October 10th. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, if you don't mind, Joe, we done with the birthdays and deaths? Okay, if you don't mind, you have the list of the W.
Now, before we go into the list of wrestling, real quick, very quickly, let's mention Patriots. 29-0. Bailey Zappi is the talk of football right now.
Yeah, him being the rookie, you know.
Right. I mean, he played one of the best games I've seen any quarterback have for the Patriots since what's his name left.
We won't mention his name.
Yeah, I won't mention his name. Giselle's almost ex. But Patriots, go Patriots! I think. I mean, if Bailey Zappi can keep playing like he's playing, I think Mac Jones is may have a little bit of trouble getting back his position. That's how good he played. That's up to Coach Belichick. Celtics are starting the season up. Bruins are starting the season up shortly. Thankfully, the Red Sox season's over. We could have mentioned that during deaths. That's thankfully that's over.
We won't mention Aaron Judge and them Yankees.
Who? Oh yeah, well Aaron Judge, yes. I give respect to Aaron Judge. 62 home runs, breaking Maris's record after 61 years, 61 homers.
My question: the playoffs, and if them Yankees do make it to the World Series. Aaron Judge, if he was to hit more home runs, will it count or only their
I think it counts for the season. I think it should count for the season, but then again, that's one rule I don't know.
Okay.
How they do it. Okay, Joe, I know we have a list of wrestling to get to because I want to mention. I'll fall asleep. She's mad at you now. You didn't sleep with her like you usually do.
Nothing. Oh well. I'd rather sleep with a real woman than you.
Yeah, well, that ain't happening though. Keep practicing with the doll there, buddy. Got Joe. Yes, director, that was for you. Okay, we'll get to our list. We are going to independent wrestling.
WWE had a pay-per-view this past Saturday. It was Extreme Rules, and I thought it was great. I'm glad I watched it. And I thought every match was good.
Was good. The one match I didn't like, I did not like the ending of the Drew McIntyre Karen Cross match. I thought it was kind of lame to spray the man in the face with mace.
Oh yeah.
Come on, that was. I mean, get a little more. Maybe I'm being a little evil. I mean, you could don't write AACS and complain. Well, some of these heroes, go ahead, ladies. Okay. I personally think Drew McIntyre should have given Charlotte there, whatever her name is there. What's Scarlett? Is that her name? Is that Karen Cross's wife's name? Who cares? A Glasgow kiss and got her out of the ring. That's what I would have done. She doesn't belong in the wrestling ring. That's what he should have done to her. Whacked her right in the face with a good headbutt, and that would have took care of her and her mace. That was the lamest ending of a match I've seen in a while. They had a great wrestling match and ruined by the ending.
Yeah.
And we all picked Drew McIntyre to win that match, so it goes part of my streak down the drain.
Well, that's what you get for listening to us.
Wasn't he the first one to make the call, though?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, never mind. I forgot.
I did.
I thought I made the
You
first
always
prediction
make the call. He's a face, so
Yes,
keep
true.
going
Good
there,
point.
DiMaggio.
This is a face. Okay, SmackDown Women's title, which was an Extreme Rules match. Liv Morgan against Ronda Rousey, and Ronda won the title.
Now,
Called it.
Rousey, to me, it looks like I don't know if she's already a heel, but it seems to me she's starting to form into a heel.
Heard rumors on the internet she might want to join forces with Shayna Baszler and start running ramshot over people.
Oh, wow. That'll be one team to look out for. Wow. That'll be something.
Fight pit match with special guest referee Daniel Cormier. Riddle against Rollins. Riddle won.
I did pick Rollins, so I was wrong, but that was a great match. I mean, a triangle choke and made him tap out.
Talking about Seth Rollins, I heard rumored that Rob Van Dam may be coming to the WWE and have a feud with him. And I know Seth Rollins recently been doing his pointing to his shoulders with his thumbs. That's something Rob Van Dam used to do back in the day.
Seen Rob
now,
do it live,
I got that from Google. I'm gonna spell it out. Google said
he's
that
also
Rob Van
he's
Dam
also
may
the
be
new
coming back.
United States champion. I was kind of waiting for Lashley to lose that title because Lashley is injured. He'll be out of action for a bit. He's been nursing an injury, and we're seeing how to get the title off of
You
him.
mentioned Lashley being injured. Is that why they had Brock Lesnar come out on Monday
And kind of
Night
make
Raw
believe he
and,
injured his shoulder. He already had an injured shoulder.
Okay.
He didn't break his arm. He made it look like he broke his arm. He didn't break his arm. He already had an injury to that shoulder. He's had it for a while.
Okay.
The Raw Women's title was a ladder match. It was Bianca against Bayley, and Bianca retained the title.
And I picked Bayley. I'll come out and tell you when I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I thought they're giving a huge push to Bayley. I thought she never would get the win.
Well, should we skip this next one on my list? Since we already talked about it.
You could skip it.
The next one is the I Quit match between Edge and Finn Balor, and
Now,
Balor won.
if this makes sense, I know a lot of times I don't make sense. I can't believe Edge said those words, I quit. But to see what happened,
Yeah, his wife
I don't
got a
blame
chair
him
though.
for
She-
saying, "I
They were
quit."
going to keep hitting her if she didn't.
exactly. And she ended up getting hit with a chair anyways, even after
But
he said,
this
I quit.
way, I think Rhea Ripley's in some serious trouble when
Oh,
Beth
yeah.
Phoenix heals up.
I see that.
I think Rhea Ripley's going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. Because I can see Beth Phoenix going after her and hurting her badly. I seriously wouldn't.
I got frustrated
Doubt that.
at the TV. Yes, I was yelling at the TV when Ed said I quit because what they were threatening to do to Beth Phoenix with the chair, and when they end up hitting her with the chair, I stood up and I said a couple bad words to the TV, and I don't want you guys to think I'm like nuts and swear
No,
and
I
talk
talk to
to the
my
TV,
TV all the
but it's
time.
like
Thick and nuts.
I can't believe. Or maybe
nuts.
I'm getting into the storylines too much on TV, but I cannot believe that they would do something. I mean, with them on Judgment Day, I mean, the stuff that they're pulling on Rey Mysterio as well. I'm yelling at the TV about Dominic being such a bad person to his father. I can't believe someone doing that to his own father. But I mean, that's Judgment Day for you.
And lastly, it was a Donnybrook match between the Brawling Brutes and the Imperium.
That could have been the match of the night.
I loved that match, and I liked the setup where they had those wooden barrels, and also a bar at ringside. I thought that was good, having them props there. And that match itself was excellent.
And we also had a surprise at the end of that pay-per-view. The return of Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah, I was happy to see him return. And
in the
one
works.
question,
You got a pop.
I know your viewers can't answer me through the TV, but let me put this in wordings. I wonder if Alexa Bliss is going to reunite with Bray Wyatt and be part of their faction once again.
I don't know. I've heard Bo Douglas is the Rabbit again.
Okay.
He's coming back. They've had WWE was hiring him back. This is rumors, of course. I told you before I read a rumors online stuff. Liv Morgan is in that faction. She's one of the pigs. That's why they took the title off of her.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not. If she's going to keep going. I hope they don't just kind of squash her character. 'Cause I like Liv Morgan too. You know, they're bringing up a lot of people from NXT coming up to the main roster. That was one of the best pops and one of the best promo props to reunite somebody I think I've ever seen in the show's history.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, we had a few returns recently. And on Monday Night Raw, we had a tag team make their return.
The Good Brothers.
Joining forces with AJ Styles.
With the return of the Bullet Club, essentially.
Yeah. And this past Monday, we had the 25th anniversary of DX. And we had the Road Dogg, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H.
Yep.
In the beginning of Raw, I almost fell off of my bed. I'm laughing so hard because,
Yes.
I mean, DX always been a comedy group, but also too they were one of the, my opinion, top factions in WWE history. And it was good to see them guys do what they
I've actually stood next to the Road Dogg at ECW event in Revere once. I was talking to him close like I am talking to you.
Wow.
I was talking to him for a good 20 minutes. I was sitting right in front of him on my seat. He's a really cool guy, actually.
That's awesome.
Speaking of the independent scene, real quick, we have a couple minutes before we get into the show up here. Coming up this weekend, when you see this show, folks, we've told you we filmed this a couple days in advance. Today's the 15th of October, which would have been my dad's 100th birthday. There's a great wrestling show being planned for Fairhaven, 106 Middle Street at the VFW there. I think it's the VFW or American Legion. I get those places confused. It's the VFW, okay? Masked Gladiators, there's going to be a casket match. Mike Montero against Stephen Luss for the return for their title. I wonder if Intimidator actually built that casket before he left. He might have, for Davey Boy. The 22nd, I mentioned last show how New World Wrestling Extreme had a match going to Bridgewater. And I mentioned the people that will be there. Bushwhacker Luke, the name I couldn't remember was Jay Lethal is going to be there as the headliner. So he's a really great wrestler from ROH and WCW, but great ROH
He does
wrestler.
a good Macho Man impersonation.
Yes, very
as well.
good one. For 29th, Teddy Goods is going to have more matches on King Street in Providence, 15 King Street. As I was there before, this time it's going to be inside because the last time I was there was outside, was in back. It's going to be inside this time because dress up, Halloween dress up. It's on the 30th. I believe I read too that LPW, the shirt you're wearing, is going to have a timer on the 29th, which is Friday. They're going. I'm not sure if they're in Hudson again, the usual venue, but go online, look these up, independentwrestling.com. Go on to RWA has an event coming up too on the 22nd. They're going back to the American Legion on Willard Street in Riverside down Rhode Island. I hope to attend a couple of these events. So if you ever see me at the events, feel free to walk up to me and say hello. I always like to talk to you. You want to talk wrestling? I'll talk wrestling with you for a few minutes. I enjoy it.
All right, well, thank you guys, and
Guys.
and female. Actually, you could call girls.
Oh, by the way,
when you address
my cousin Lois told me
yes.
she's looking for you.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Am I in for it?
Yep.
Boy. All right. Well, as matter of fact, she's scaring me. She's like smiling at me with that evil face. Oh, okay. Well, I gotta wrap up this show, and I'm a little bit nervous for. Okay. Well, talk to the hand. Anyways, we thank you viewers for watching us. And how did you close the show when you're nervous? Oh boy. Anyways, we thank you viewers for watching us, and tune in next episode for probably a new episode based on what week you watch it. But tune in next week, same time, same channel, for another edition of the Inside Scoop. We thank the director for directing us, WACS for having us. Thank you guys and girl for being on the stage
Loretta
here
Lynn,
with me.
Antonio Inoki,
Yes.
Judy Tenuta, all those who passed.
And until next
Julio.
time, see ya.